When you grow up surrounded by dereliction, it lowers what you believe is possible. Not because people don't care, but because you've been let down too many times.
I think that we have been through a lot as a community, but there has always been an element of the community that is resilient and thriving. We just want to realise our potential.
Personally, I'm a nobody. I'm a resident of the Glencairn. I'm not a politician. I don't have a high-end job within the council or the DFI or the housing executive. I also have 4 children. Thinking about their future, I want to make a better future for them. So being able to be given this voice and given this opportunity has empowered me.
I remember in one of the focus groups, we said, so who here wants to stay living in the Greater Shankill? Only one young person put their hand up. What's the reason for this? And they said, nobody cares about us here. There isn't enough housing. There are more opportunities elsewhere. The jobs aren't here. Once we talked about imagining the future, which is part of the craft kit process, then they said, well, if there was this and if there was that, then yes, sure, you'd stay. We have got to grasp this craft kit process.
It's very important for me that this regeneration plan for Greater Shankill is called the craft kit. It's not called the master plan. Master plans, by their very nature, speak delivery at the end. The difference with the craft kit is that this community crafted that kit. We crafted that kit. So there is a genuine expectation that we have put the facts, the figures, the statistics together, which show that regeneration activity benefits communities greatly. And we're not prepared to rest on our laurels and complain about what hasn't happened, but we're more than confident to champion what should happen in our community and campaign for that.
If you look around you and there is dereliction, the housing's worn down, there's all these abandoned sites, I think certainly that would have an impact on mental health, and that's particularly relevant in a already marginalised community like the Shankill Road, where young men probably there is a bit of a mental health issue, and I think ultimately that makes this physical regeneration, it's important, but this has a huge social element to it as well in regards to how the general community well-being and mental health and how they perceive themselves.
The Shankill used to have a really, really strong identity, a really strong community feel, a feel of togetherness. I'm not saying that's totally gone, it definitely hasn't, but it's just maybe not as great as what it was. The amount of people that's left the Shankill even over the years. Projects like this create opportunities for young people to get together again, produce something meaningful, and maybe kickstart that type of feel again.
Meaningful government support for the craft kit implementation will require integrated working, coordinated working across government departments and across statutory agencies. That's the absolutely critical thing. It's all these agencies and departments working together to transform this situation on the Shankill, which we're long overdue, and more critically to improve the lives of people that live in the Greater Shankill area. That's the critical thing, and it will not happen. It will not happen unless there is an integrated approach from government departments.
I think if you look across the city at the minute, there's a lot of regeneration activity taking place. This is what a Plan to Grow has tried to acknowledge, is that it's explored how the Shankill can be connected to that activity physically through new interventions like the Gateway, but also the Build project in general. And I think there's real potential there. And as I say, this is captured in a Plan to Grow, but it's just important moving forward that we build on this momentum, that the Plan to Grow gets the required investment and support and buy-in to make that change a reality.
This document was produced by the Housing Executive in 2004. It's called the Greater Shankill Regeneration Strategy. And looking at, we can see that there has been a real missed opportunity. Many of the things that were promised in that document have not been delivered. This is another opportunity.
I'm always drawn to the census figures in 1971, which showed a population in Greater Shankill in the region of 69,000 people, and the stark contrast between 1971 and, for talk's sake, 2011, where the population was officially registered at 22,500 people. I've often sat and wondered, where did all those people go? There, for me, began the rape and plunder of the Shankill. Large-scale demolition, the Weetabix flats, multiple flats around the area taken away on the promise of regeneration, which never ever happened. I can't fault or criticise families who moved for the betterment of that family and the safety of that family. What I can criticise is the government plans that led to it happening and the failure of government to repopulate a community.
A lot of people felt that maybe Bill was there to hang people out to dry or be confrontational, but it was about building alliances, it was about building strategy, and yes, asking hard questions of people, but it was about bringing people in and saying, look, how do we move this forward? So the 3-year process in there started build, and it has to be said there was no resource to do this. This was the willing and the able, to use a term that was said. And eventually we got some resource, and one of the critical points was, again, asking statutory agencies to give resources into the area, and that came about through the Glencairn Place Shaping Plan, which looked at one neighbourhood within the Shankill, and then the other thing was working with DFC to look at a Shankill-wide plan. The people who had experience in different areas of Northern Ireland, different areas of Belfast. We actually went internationally, we went and looked at different models of practice. So we very quickly started to pick up some of the things that other people had learned and done the hard work on and brought them to the table. Whilst the consultants have been critical, it's about community engagement.
We use a number of different methods to analyse the feedback that we had got. But importantly, this plan isn't just a summary of the community feedback that we received through our engagement process. The plan seeks to provide a really robust evidence base to substantiate that feedback we got as well. Now, as we started to analyse that information, 4 key themes started to emerge, and that was the need to look at housing and dereliction, to look at the economy and potential for investment, to look at the attractiveness and maintenance of the area in order to change perceptions and to attract investment and development into the area, and also to look at how we can connect people to key services and facilities.
All the local people are invested, but the statutory agencies are invested as well. The senior staff in those departments have been along and part of the process as well. What we would like to think is that the money has been set aside, there are actions identified to come out of the process, and we would like to think that the departments have the money to make that happen.
Am I hopeful? You have to remain hopeful, otherwise you would just go home. So I am hopeful, but there are certain things that need to happen to ensure that it actually does work. And that the main one is that the statutory agencies step up and actually perform their regeneration roles within the Greater Shankill, because unless they get fully behind all the different recommendations set down in the craft kit, it's just not going to happen. And we'll be back here in another 21 years talking about another missed opportunity.